Hello, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Brush Live. I am Leah from Leah Noell Design Co.
I'm Bianca from Lotus Theory Designs.
And we are Beyond the Brush, and we are super excited to have an awesome show with you guys today. We have a lot planned. We are taking some of the content that you guys asked for last week and putting it here in this show today. So if you guys were here last week, we are going to talk about staging this week. So we are going to show you a little bit of our staging supplies, give you some tips, and just give you some really good content for moving forward with or upping your staging game a little bit. So we are going to start off the show today. We have a couple different sections of the show we like to do. We like to always start off with the news. So are you ready to do the news, Bianca?
I'm ready.
All right, guys, today in Dixie Belle news, we have some exciting news. There are 10 new silk colors that launched today that you could get at your elite retailer. These are the colors. There's 10 of them. They're super pretty. Bianca, which one's your favorite color?
Oh, it's really hard to choose. They're really beautiful, but I'm feeling the desert rose and morning sunrise. They're both just delicious.
They're super pretty. I love that prickly pear. I can't get enough of it. The other thing that we have releasing today here at Dixie Belle is we have the new stencils. There is one called Trippy Blocks right here. They are like they're like the perfect size for drawer sides and drawer fronts as well. They're kind of they're a nice size actually. They're, I don't know, what are they, like 8 inches wide? Or
it's right
tall?
there. It says right on the front. Just hold it up to the camera.
Oh, here we go. That's the dimensions right there. I was right, about 8 inches. So there's Trippy Blocks, there is Basket Weave, and there is a nail head trim. So these are the 3 new stencils that you could get today as well. Not to be overlooked by the silk. I feel like we've all just been so excited for those silk colors, but these are 3 new stencils that we have as well. Did you want to show the pictures that you have of them?
Now, Trippy Blocks, that one's not inspired by anybody, right?
I don't know. That one's just trippy.
Okay, it's just trippy. The Basket Weave stencil is inspired by AJ at AJ's Vintage Designs, right? And then the nail head stencil is inspired by Tracy of Tracy's Fancy. So all 3 of these are available today, whether you get them on DixieBellePaint.com or check with your local retailer for availability.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so next up, the Color Lab. So I've been showing you guys the Color Lab the last 2 sessions.
Who's tried it?
Yeah, who's tried the Color Lab? Let us know if you've played with the Color Lab. I meant to have it pulled up and ready for you guys. We're getting there. Here we go. Is it showing?
Yes.
The more I prepare, the more I'm not. Okay, so if you go to the top tab, we have the Color Lab. There's 2 options for the Color Lab. There's the Color Mixer and the Match a Color. Color Mixer will allow you to combine existing Dixie Belle colors to come up with your own custom color. And the Match a Color section will allow you to upload a pre-existing image to the site, and it will match the colors that it sees in the image and make suggestions based on the colors that you choose.
It's a really cool tool. Let us know if you guys have tried it yet. It's just awesome. It's an awesome tool. Let's see here. So the next, we just want to remind you guys, we are shipping. We have something called Global E, and we are shipping internationally. So those of you guys in France, Australia, New Zealand, you can get Dixie Belle paint now. We are shipping internationally, which is super duper cool. For years, we've had, DMs and messages like, oh my gosh, I love following you, but I can't get these products where I'm at. Now you can. So if any of you can purchase Dixie Belle paint anywhere in the world.
And lastly, we have our free gemstone mousse. So if you make a purchase on DixieBellePaint.com and your purchase total is $100 or more, Dixie Belle will include a free amber gemstone mousse with your purchase. So go ahead and get the goods while it's hot. Get it while the getting is good.
And we don't have an end date for that, do we? It's just kind of like they're.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Last.
I don't know. Yeah. Yes, exactly. There you go.
Awesome.
Done with the news. Okay. We're done with the news.
Those are our news glasses. Now I can go to my reading glasses. There we go.
So Tiffany says she uses the Color Lab all the time.
Oh, awesome.
With customers. You know what? That is brilliant. With 69 chalk mineral paint colors, I truly believe the custom color choices, the possibilities are absolutely endless. Michelle loves it. Carolyn loves it. Catherine loves it. All right. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's get to the goods. Yeah. What do you think, Leah?
Yeah. Do you want to, let's do some questions. So we do some questions each week where we just kind of ask questions to get to know you guys better, for you to get to know us better. Bianca, do you have the 2 questions? Do you want to pick which one to ask first? We could.
Let's do. Ooh, I don't know. You pick. I can't.
Okay. We want to know what your favorite comfort food is.
Yeah.
So, it's -6 here today. So comfort food is like a thing on my mind right now. What's your favorite comfort food?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really have a comfort food. I just like food.
I do too.
I mean, honestly, if I don't know. I just like food.
What's your favorite food then?
Seafood.
What's your favorite food? Seafood.
Seafood.
Ooh,
yeah.
good. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I want to hear what you guys like. What is your favorite comfort food? If you don't have a comfort food, what's your favorite food? Just food. We always talk about food on this show.
I know. What's going on here? We should just change it to a food show.
a foodie show. Mashed potatoes. Ice cream.
We actually have a couple of mashed potatoes in here. Lindsay says rice and beans. Yeah. Patty, fried chicken. Patty, with hot sauce or without?
Oh, gosh.
French fries.
I don't do hot sauce.
Okay, Ashley, this is very specific. French fries.
Yes, it is.
From Cheesecake Factory.
I can't even think. I've eaten there several times, and I don't know that I remember their fries. Next time I'm going to have to remember.
Yeah, same. Absolutely.
Chicken pot pie.
Oh, Tiffany says, okay, Tiffany, I gotta, Tiffany and I have to have a chat. Tiffany says, go to Revolue on 83rd and Belle. Amazing food. Tiffany, Revolue is delicious. They have a lobster burrito. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. And it's loaded with lobster. It's loaded with lobster.
That sounds really good.
Mary, anything chocolate. You can never go wrong. I'm with you, Patty, on the sushi.
Yeah. Sushi.
What about you?
Stuff.
What did you answer? What's your favorite comfort food?
Okay, my favorite food, and it's kind of weird. I love spaghetti with blue cheese on top.
That is totally bizarre, but
my favorite thing. My family thinks I'm crazy, but it is my favorite food. And when I go to restaurants, I'll order that, and they'll be like, the waiter's always like, I'm like, no, just bring it out. Like, no one else will think it's good, but I love it. It's just a mix of the blue cheese with the marinara sauce. It's so good. It's so good. Okay, I got Reagan started eating it too. So
I was going to say,
she's the only person who will do it.
Is she the only person that's tried it?
Yeah, I don't think anyone else has tried it.
They just can't bring themselves to do it, huh?
She loves spaghetti and she loves blue cheese. Yeah, but Kurt, he's like, no, you're crazy. You know, like they'll just eat the spaghetti, but I always add my blue cheese on top, and it's so good. It's my favorite food ever.
You know what? I would be down to try it. I'm telling you now, I'm not. It doesn't sound good, but I would be willing to try it. I'll try almost anything.
Yeah, you know, and I think it just came from like we probably were like at a lack of groceries, and I'm like, oh, I'll just throw some blue cheese on top, throw it Parmesan, and it just became a thing. I've been eating it for years.
Yeah. Well, with that said, I remember putting eggs in ramen noodles. That's good too.
Oh, that's really
good.
If
we're talking about a poor man's meal.
And
peas, yeah.
Ramen noodles can be really good.
Yeah, they can be, right? So next question. Do you make a pro or con list, or do you just go with your gut? Leah.
My gut every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Are you a gut person, or are you a pro con? Put it all on paper, analyze it, weigh everything, or are you just, more do you just follow your intuition?
Gut. Yeah. Intuition, because I feel like my pro and con list, they usually end up even.
Yeah.
Like I've done it a couple, they're usually even, so I just always go with my gut.
Yep.
Sherry goes with her gut too. Oh wow. How about you, Bianca?
Yeah,
You said you go with your gut.
I'm definitely a gut person.
Yeah. That sounded funny.
It really did. I am a gut person.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyway, but no, I do. My gut has just never steered me wrong.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And when I haven't listened to my gut, I've regretted it. It's all about the gut.
It is. It's all about the gut. If you guys, Marie Forleo, she is a business coach, and she has this technique in her book, and she talks about how if you're going to make a big decision, you sit with it and you think about that decision, and you say, does this make me expand or contract? And then you know how to measure if it's a good gut feeling or a bad one. So if it expands when you think about it, then it's a good decision to go with it. But if you contract, it's a bad decision to go with it. And when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, that is such a good tool to have, because sometimes I don't know what my gut's telling me. And then it was like, she had that book. It's called Everything is Figure Outable. It's a really good book. I followed her for years, but it was just a fantastic tool to really differentiate if it's your gut or if it's something else.
Yeah. That sounds like something worth checking out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Christina just flies by the seat of my pants, she says.
I do too, Christina.
I do too. I get that. I think that having people around I'm not one to fly by the seat of my pants. I think that's more my husband. It depends on the situation, but we balance well because of that. I think we keep each other grounded.
Yeah. You got to have those opposites.
Absolutely. So with that said, good answers, you guys. That was fun. I like doing these questions, Leah.
I do too. They are fun. It's fun to get to know you guys too, and hear what you guys have to say.
Absolutely.
And learn about like peanut butter beer, like last week.
Yeah.
Like,
you heard it here first,
so cool.
folks.
Exactly. So do we want to get into some staging? What we're going to do? Okay, great. So what we're going to do, you guys, is we're going to show some of our staging stuff. I think Bianca said she's going to show her staging area, and I'm going to run through some tips. And then after that, we will open it up to Q&A. So if you guys have questions, you're welcome to pop them in now, right? Is that okay? Because
please.
We're going to stay on topic with staging, but you guys are welcome to ask any questions. We want this to be an open forum where you can come here and ask questions and get an answer weekly. So do you want to show yours? Do you want me to show mine first, or do you want to show yours? Oh, I forgot. We got the slides.
I thought it was a good idea. Yeah, I thought it was a good idea. Just because I'm going to take you guys to, our areas and show you, or my area anyway, and show you what I'm working with. And I just want you to get a visual of, what my finished product looks like. And when you see the area that I'm working with, it might help you to, I guess maybe just shift your perspective. I think that the way that my pictures look, it looks like I have this grand area, or at least I think it does, right? But
it does.
It's really not. It's really not much of anything. So, and then Leah, do you have any insight to offer into yours?
So mine's actually in my garage. It is, I get asked about it all the time. On Friday, I did in my stories. I should have pinned it to a highlight. I'll have to do it again. But I talked about staging, why I position things the way I do. But mine is basically, it's 2 pieces of paneling I bought 5 years ago when I started this business They were $25 each at Menards. And then I had one that I would lay on the ground. Now I have like a floor there, but this is literally in my garage. So it's between a window and then the garage door. So I open the garage door for that really good light. And then the wall is just something that last year this time, I just put a bunch of like mud on it and just kind of went crazy over the course of a week or two. I think it took me. And I just created something that really stuck out with my brand. So a lot of people, a lot of companies, or it's a lot of people think that you have to have a plain white wall. I wanted to have my own wall because I wanted it to be like, that's my piece because it's against my wall. So that's one thing that I did after a couple years, that going from like a plain beige wall to a gray wall to a black wall at one point, to just like, I just want to have my own brand. So that's something I chose to do, and I'm really happy with that choice. So that's something that you can do, or if you just want something different, create something unique to your brand. So don't copy somebody else. Find something that when people look at your photo, they're like, oh, I know that's her. I know that's Leah's photo.
Right. I would absolutely agree. So with that said, you guys, things are possible with tech, but they can be clunky. So I'm going to make myself mobile.
If you guys don't know, Bianca does all of the behind the scenes tech stuff. So she's going to go ahead and I think you said it'll take a couple seconds, but we're going to see your staging area, which is totally worth seeing. There we go. Oh, I can't hear you. Your mic's off.
How am I doing?
Oh, there you go. That's better.
Okay. All right. So we're walking. This is my house. Ironically, my mother is here cleaning it. She's my housekeeper. It's what she does for a living. So hopefully we don't run into each other. She's a lot. Okay. So, and I can't flip the camera. Leah, if you don't mind, can you keep an eye on the questions?
Yeah. Let me grab my tablet. Hang on.
Okay, guys, so while she's doing that, I just wanted to show you a little bit of what I'm working with. Unfortunately, I can't flip my camera, so we're just going to have to do it this way. So this is my dining room. I no longer have a dining room table. I haven't for years, and it is my staging area. So let's bring you guys in a little bit closer. So this wall has been a few different things over the years, but I would say for the past year or so, it has been this. So what I did was I took two pieces of sheetrock, stacked them on top of one another, and then of course, filled the seam so that it looked like one seamless wall. So this is sheetrock. And then over the years, I've painted it. One time I had like a chair rail going on. Now I took joint and compound and created some texture. So I created like faux stenciling on the wall, and then, or faux brick, I apologize. And then here, a little bit of stencil, raised stencil, obviously different colors, etc. And then that's what I'm working with. So the whole thing measures, sorry guys, this is really hard to do. The whole thing measures about 16 feet by 8. That's it. I have some fake flooring there. I used to have different panels of flooring, but it got to be kind of a pain switching them in and out. So this is just some flooring that I got from Home Depot. And I just laid it down. Oh, and then just slapped a baseboard. You can kind of see it over there. And then, I have lights, you guys. So up here, I have a couple of chandeliers that are hanging, and sometimes I'll put them in my photos, sometimes not. And then I just hook them up to an extension cord. Luckily, my husband's an electrician, so he was able to rig something for me here. But I just drop them down when the time comes and take a picture with them and put them back up. So,
oh, nice.
Other than that, I mean, go ahead.
My tablet is like 4 days not updated, so
it's 4 days behind.
It's like 4 days behind, and I don't know what's going on.
That's okay.
Sorry.
I'll come back to the questions.
I apologize, you guys. I apologize. Yeah, that's not working at all.
4 days behind. That's funny.
It's
And then
like
just
not.
really quick, you guys, before I go back to my computer so I can see your questions. You know, I just have like I have like some other staging materials, and then in this armoire, I have more.
You got the goods.
I forgot I stuffed this in here earlier. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm making a mess. That's okay. You guys are worth it. So this is where I keep all my like little things, and behind me I have
Your staging
another.
stuff.
Yep, I have another hutch. So yeah, this is where I do the things.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. When I came over to your house, I was shocked at Bianca's pictures always look so bright and beautiful. And then I go to her house. I'm like, this is the darkest corner of your house. How do you
It's
even
so
do
dark.
this?
I feel like I'm just,
Yeah.
you know, since we're here, look, Leah.
Oh, yes. I love it. Oh, that was so much fun to create. That was so much
If
fun.
you guys don't know, Leah came to town here in Arizona visiting relatives, and she stopped by and we collaborated on that piece together.
Yeah. That was a good time. I always love collaborating. You know, it's just so fun, especially when you get there and like everything's prepped and there's a base coat and there's like an idea and it's like, let's go for it.
Yep.
It's way more fun. Sorry about the questions. Yeah, my tablet's just, I don't know what's going on with this thing. Anyway, so I'll show you guys, I'm going to show you guys kind of, so you guys, if you guys follow my stories, I have shown my actual staging wall, which is in my garage, but here in this house, when we bought the house, I was excited because I have this whole front room to hold my staging stuff as well as to store my furniture. So I have these yellow shelves that were here, and this is where I store everything. So they're double-sided, and I store everything in there. And then also the hutch that you see me sit behind, I store a lot of stuff in there. But I just wanted to give you guys some tips. So if you guys could see, I originally had planned to stage in this room, and the light just doesn't come in at the right, like I get a lot of shadows here, so I don't stage here a lot. But sometimes I'll take a picture, and then the wall, the way the wall is, it doesn't seem to reflect the right light. So I've actually had this issue before with my staging wall where I've had to repaint it. So one time I painted it like a grayish color, and it didn't work well with my furniture. So what I do, I just painted over it a different color. So if you guys are like taking pictures and you notice that your pictures just aren't right, sometimes you just need a coat of paint. So this black is not like a true black. It's like more of a brown black. So it doesn't photograph things right. So I don't photograph in here. If I wanted to, I could change it. So that's just a tip for you guys to change your wall color. But there's a couple tips I have. So first of all, I love the things for height. So these are just...
Check out Leah's socks, everyone.
Oh, yeah. I'm not wearing shoes. Old books. I have like an old encyclopedia set that magazines, and then they're catalogs from the lighting store that Kurt brought home for me. So I use this as a staging tool. This is what I put things on. Plants, because I love them. I try to stick with like real plants. So I use plants. I have a rule of thumb where I really try to create with things like something reflective or clear or glass or shiny, something natural like wood, a metal element, and at different heights. So like the other day I was out shopping and I was at a boutique thrift store type thing, and I bought this, and I bought it because it's got good height. So then when I'm staging, I would have different heights, you know, so this is like tall, this would be a tall item. And then I can create different things. Also, Target has, I don't know if they still have them. I just bought them like a month ago, but they had like risers, like little circle risers that you can use. I bought 2 sets of them. I have them actually in my house right now, but they're just like little wood block risers. Or like that one thing you created, that tray that you created when we did a live together. Things like that to create different heights. That's always a thing. I set up this example as well. I'm going to show you guys this because this has some really good tips for you. So right here, this piece, I set it up I haven't shown this yet. This is done in Fiery Sky. But one of the things I did was I had used I like the way that this blue and white looks with the red. I mean, they're, you know, all American colors, and they go well together. So I put my blue on here. I actually used the blue what is that? The sketched roses on the sides. But here's my point. I liked the way that this all looked on top, but I put a gold elephant here to make the gold hardware stand out more. So I try to incorporate the color of the hardware in pieces on top of the furniture. So if I have gold, I'll use gold. If this was silver, I would use silver. So that's kind of my ideas when I'm staging, is making sure I have those right metal elements that bring out the hardware. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And I hadn't thought about that.
Oh no.
So I think I do that at times, but I've never sat here and thought it through and thought, I don't know. It's good. It's good, Leah. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And then I also buy these on Amazon. They're only like $30, and they're totally worth $30. But I buy these bead runners right here. I have a few of them, and I buy those because my furniture's in my home, and I set my staging stuff on top of it for storage, and that protects them. And I also use them in staging as well to just get a good, like, sometimes it's just I don't know, just to kind of get a good collection on there. But my staging supply, is yours, I'm sure, has grown over time.
Oh, yeah.
And I get rid of things and I buy new things, and I'm constantly changing it out. Because things go out of style or you get sick of them.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take some questions. I'm going to scroll back up. Let's stay on topic, guys. Before we get to our open Q&A, what are your questions for us as far as staging? What advice can we offer to you today? I'm seeing a lot of gut comments. Gut. Let me.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of gut reactors.
Okay, I just have to, Ashley, I always think about expansion when I eat those French fries from Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, then you should just eat more of them.
Yeah, right. Patty, do you girls paint your staging walls? So we answered that. The answer was yes. But the reason I pulled up this question was I just wanted to make the point that, if you notice, both Leah and I both said that over time we change the look of our staging wall, or maybe something isn't photographing right. We will change the look of our staging wall, paint it a different color, add texture, etc.
Yeah. And a lot of times you won't realize that, like, your white is an off-white or something like that happened to me, and it just made my pieces look yellow and dingy. And so the color looked beautiful in my bathroom, but it did not work where my staging wall was located. Right. So don't be afraid to paint over your staging wall.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think, I don't want to get too far down a rabbit hole, because I feel like this could be a totally other topic, but lighting has a lot to do with it. As, how yellow, or, how, the color is taken to your camera, etc. You use natural light, correct?
Yeah, and I think that's a good topic, because you and I are both opposite. I only use natural light.
Right.
I don't have the skill, like you have a skill with photography, where I don't have that. So I have always, like, just positioned my staging wall in an area where it's easy to open that garage door. And I do it at different times of the day. So, like, at my old house, I would have to do it before noon because I would get sun. Now I have to do it later in the day because the sun is it's in a different spot.
Right.
And I also notice when it's snowing outside, because my driveway is it's a red brick driveway, it reflects that. So I notice that when it snows, it's the best day to stage, because it's just everything's like crisp and white.
So I'm just curious, your light is pretty balanced. Is it coming from the right in this picture, your light source?
Yes, it is. Okay. And it's also coming from the left.
Balanced.
I have a window on the left of it.
That's why it's balanced. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good. The cool thing about natural light, you guys, there are some artists that say you should use natural light and that's it. There are some that say you should use artificial and that's it. No, you got to figure out what works best for you.
Right.
The thing that I like about natural light is that, like, look at Leah's picture. It kind of gives you a homey feel. So to me, it almost looks a bit more realistic, in the sense of, if I were a consumer looking at this piece of furniture, I'm getting the sense of what it might look like in my home because of the way that the light is coming into the picture. And your shadowing is good. It's not too deep. but there is a little bit of shadowing there. And that shadows aren't necessarily a bad thing. It's going to give you, again, that just element of it being real, you know, something that you can envision in your home. Whereas mine, I use artificial light. So sure, there is some shadowing going on. Of course, you're not going to ever truly escape shadows, especially like under the dresser, etc. But it's artificial light because you guys saw how dark that hole is. Yeah. my staging area, it's a dark hole. And so I use artificial light with, I don't know if you guys, I forgot to mention what I'm using as far as a camera and all of that, but I don't use my phone. I can't. It would be probably a nightmare in that area, even with like continuous lighting, like on stands and stuff. I use external flashes. So notice I didn't have a light kit up. So anyway.
And I only use my phone. So
and well,
we're total opposites. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. But yet we both achieve beautiful photos.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about what works for you guys. So let's see. Other questions. People say great staging wall. Catherine, yes, try the raised stencils. Sarah, I thought you photoshopped those chandeliers in.
Oh.
No, I have in the past, but nope, they're real and they're there. Leora also likes the chandeliers. Lindsay, it's amazing to see your space compared to your photos. Very inspiring. Patty loves our collaboration piece. Cherry has a question. The wall, that's a really good question. It's stationary. It's mounted to the wall. And the reason that I did the 2 layers of sheetrock for my wall, I mounted it to it, yes, but I knew that I would be changing that wall in and out according to my vibe for that quarter of the year or so.
Yeah.
Vibe. And I didn't want to do anything too permanent on the actual wall. So that's why I did the 2 pieces of sheetrock. So far, it's worked out well. I think at this point, if I were to change it, I probably am going to rip that sheetrock off and start fresh because it's been, I want to say about 4 or 5 different things. And that texture that's on there now, like that's just kind of it. I can't do much more unless I keep the texture with that. So.
Yeah. Now, do you change it out just every couple months, or do you do it like for each piece?
For each piece,
for each piece.
Well, no, it's been that way it's been a while actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to change it out.
Floors.
Yeah, I used to do all that, but I've kept it this way probably because it was expensive actually. This wall was expensive between the joint compound and the brick roller thing and the floor. The floor was what was expensive. That little bit of floor was like $100. You know, but in the past I have had, as you said, different floors. So they were like panels. And this was all before, you know, inflation, everything got so expensive. So it was a lot easier for me to be able to purchase these things and interchange. But what I did do was get, I think it was like $8 at the time, like a 4x8 board, which I would stick like cheap linoleum tiles to using like, what is that, liquid nails. I would just stick it to it. And that way I could rotate the floors in and out. So just a thought for you guys. I did that for quite some time. So every time I took a picture, it would look a little bit different.
So you put the linoleum tile on what kind of board?
It was just like a board.
Okay.
Like dresser backing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a little lighter weight than plywood.
Exactly. And they're flexible. So easy for me to, because I had them stacked on top of one. So I just pull the next one out, you know.
Okay.
Anyway, I did that for a while. I still have them in case I decide to go back to that. But, you know, with that little bit of wood look tile or whatever that I have in there, I was like, this is expensive. So it's going in every photo, you know. So.
Oh, yeah. It is a cost, but it's worth it.
Ashley loves your runners.
Thank you.
Ricky says good. Great staging tips. Diana has a question. How many elements do you place together with a piece?
For me, it just depends. I work in odd numbers and triangles. So every time you look at my staging, you're usually looking at and a triangle could be any kind of triangle you could think of in your head, but I work in odd numbers and triangles. And then I tend to have a heavier staging style where a lot of people don't. I like to put a lot of things on my pieces. I like to really create a whole big scape. So that's kind of how I just like with my elements. But the elements I listed were natural, like wood, wood, metal, and something reflective, something with color, and then something to make the hardware stand out is usually typically my go-tos that that kind of just come naturally now. Before I had to really think about it when I was staging, and now it just kind of happens. And a natural element too, I like to use a lot of like just stones and rocks and plants and things like that just make the piece feel more organic, opposed to like a lot of different opposed to just other decor items, I would say. What about you, Bianca? How many do you have, like a number of pieces that you use, or do you just kind of go with your gut feeling?
I go with the gut. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I guess the picture, this one, that's actually, sorry, there's a comment there.
You don't have anything there, really.
I really don't. This is light for me.
Yeah.
But you know, I think it depends on the piece. So if I had done like a one color piece, I'm probably going to go a little bit heavier on the staging. Whereas that one, I want the focus to be on the piece itself. Lately, and my staging style has changed over the years, but lately I've been kind of loving the picking elements and props that are similar in color to like the neutrals on the piece.
Okay.
I just lately, that's just kind of where my head's been, because I don't know, I've just been liking the idea of kind of having like almost monotone vignette.
Yeah.
But you know, there are times where I've had, you know, contrasting, conflicting colors almost, one could say, that, you know, shouldn't work together but do. So yeah, I can't sit here with any kind of certainty and give you a formula, because I just go with it.
And then when it's like it's a skill. It takes time to build that skill.
Yep.
The other tip I have for you guys is food. Pretty cupcakes, pretty cakes, pretty donuts. Like food, I love staging with food items, and then you get to eat it afterward. But anytime I can like get a pretty cake, or there's these huge cupcakes my grocery store sells, and a lot of times I'll just buy like 6 or 7 of those and I'll set them on there, and then my kids are so happy, like they get cupcakes for a week, you know.
It's a good idea.
So I'll use that too. Yeah, and it's one of those things where if you don't have like if you're on a budget and you don't really want to spend a lot, then you know, you tie it into your grocery bill.
Yep. No, that's really good. I hadn't thought about staging with like desserts. I staged with potatoes, eggs, you know, for kitchen things. But yeah, it's a good point.
And I noticed that when you have staged the like some of the paint colors that you stage, you do use a lot of grocery items. You use strawberries and eggs, and when you do the paint color jars, I did notice that, and it looks so pretty.
Thank you. Yeah, for whatever reason, it's, you know, this needs strawberries for some reason. Okay, so what are your thoughts on cloth backdrops and green screen software? I'll go. So cloth backdrops, I have a couple and I use them occasionally, but I don't like the wrinkles. So that's just me. When I stage something and present the world with my final art, as much effort goes into that staging and that background and that photography as it did painting the piece. And so I don't want to, for me, put forth a, you know, dresser that I'm going to ask high dollar for and then have a wrinkly, weirdly shaped background. That's just me. If you're going to use them, iron it out or steam it out. That would be my advice. And then if you're clever enough with your lighting, you won't even be able to tell that it's a cloth background. I tend to Photoshop out any wrinkles. So whether I'm like sometimes I'll hang curtains for my staging, and they'll be wrinkled. I'm not ironing because I don't do that. That's not happening. But I will Photoshop them out. So I think that, I mean, for me, I feel like cloth is just more of a hassle. Green screen, I think that the technology has gotten better. You know, there was a wave probably about 2 years ago where people were, and I was one of them, and actually I used to do this for people. You could submit a photo to me and I would remove the background. It's not something that I advise. unless you have a really good artist doing it or you're really good at it. Because it just, I think for me, and this is, you guys, what I'm saying is not like rule or gospel or anything like that. I'm not trying to deter you from doing what you want. We're grown people here, do what you want. But I do believe that the presentation is everything. And if your piece looks like it's floating in space because of poor background replacement, I just would advise against it. I think you're better off maybe taking your piece outside and staging it, or even just using the cloth background at that point. So hopefully that helps. For me, I just don't want anything to take away from the beauty of my piece. And people are so critical, aren't they, Leah? They're so critical. So I can have the most beautiful piece of furniture, but what are they going to look at? They're going to look at the wrinkle in your cloth backdrop.
Yeah, I haven't had any luck with them. I haven't. I tried them when I first started. I ordered the kit off Amazon, and then I think I ended up giving it to my nephew. I tried it once and it just didn't work. So you just figure out something that does work. Another tip for you guys is closet doors. So like those folding closet doors. Those
are great.
Or screens. I have, since my staging wall is white and I don't really like the lighting in my black room, I just pull out that wood screen and I'll set that behind it. And then that helps counter the because you don't want to stage white on white. So screens, those closet folding doors, you can paint them really cool. Old antique doors, you can line those up. Something like that can really be a lot better of an option than a cloth background.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed when I was showing you my staging area, I had some screens back there, and they're great. They change the entire vibe of my photos when I use them.
Yeah. I keep one in my garage just for that.
Yep. So let me see if I understand this. So how about staging within your booth? When a staging piece sells, the Reboot Group can be challenging. Do you understand?
I do.
Justina? Okay, I was going to say, go ahead.
Oh, I don't have a booth. So, but I do have this room here where I'm constantly, my favorite thing to do is to like this weekend, Saturday night, I redecorated this hutch and then I had to move the furniture around to make it work in our house. I have a lot of furniture for sale right now. And I had to move things around just to make it so we can like function in here. And so it's not like, we're just loaded with furniture. So I don't know. I find it to be an opportunity and a challenge to be able to bring a new piece in, like once something goes, to fill that space with something else and make it look just as pretty as it did before. It's just an opportunity and a challenge. And you might have some downtime where you don't have something there, but for the most part, I think it's a unique way to just keep things going, becoming fresh. Because when I go to a booth store, I want to see I want to see things have changed. Honestly, I don't have a booth, but as a consumer who shops at a lot of booth stores, when I see that booth consistently changing, it kind of makes me want to, if I see something in that booth, I want to buy it because I know that it's not going to be there next time because things are changing. So it's a consumer mentality too. So if I go to your store and things aren't moved around and that thing is always there, I'm thinking no one wants that. No one's going to buy it, So I think that it's a consumer mentality to just change it up. It's an opportunity to just keep changing things up, even if it is a staging piece.
I'm in agreement.
Keep it fresh.
Yep. So let's take just a couple more. Let's see if we can challenge ourselves to breeze through the answers. So we can get to our open Q&A.
Rapid fire.
Here we go. When I stage china cabinets, besides decorating the inside, I have trouble figuring out how to stage around it. Lindsay, screens, as Leah just said, curtains, tall elements like trees, wall decor. Sometimes I'll drape like lace down and to kind of frame it, etc. What do you think, Leah?
Lamps. Anything with heights.
Lamps. Absolutely. Janet, dark rooms. What is the best option for lighting? Considering basement with no windows, I have paneling, could go wild on it for something other than white when needed. So dark rooms, get yourself some artificial lighting, whether that be some kind of continuous light source. Probably I would go with something more on the cooler side, which would be brighter, like a daylight bulb, etc. But that's what I would do. Definitely get yourself some artificial lighting. Otherwise, it's just hard. It's just hard.
Janet, Janet's in my group. Janet, there's a whole, Bianca did a whole training on lighting. So if you just go and look in the unit,
I did.
You'll find that.
I did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Yeah. So all the information you need is right there for you.
So Deborah says, I do a lot of kids furniture. Can you give me ideas on a staging wall?
Oh.
I mean, you know what, if it were me, and this is just speaking from some kind of experience, when we were redoing our church, remodeling my church, my aunt runs the kids ministry, and we were talking about what color to paint the walls. When we thought about kids, we thought about different colors and the psychology behind colors and how kids react to different colors. So, red's probably not the best option, but we discovered, just doing a little bit of research, that yellow is a really good option for kids. It brings out happiness. Blues can be very calming. So that's where I would start, Deborah. I would maybe say do some research.
Color psychology.
On the psychology of color. And that'll at least give you a base. Yeah. Right? Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
April, do you or can you use an app that changes the background? Yes, Canva does it. It does a decent job. Okay. Canva.
Yeah, it does.
It's not perfect, but it does a pretty good job. Yep, I think that answers that. Yeah. So what do you use to keep wall decor up? I use tacks. Oh, I put holes in screws. I am not shy. Listen, when I go to take down that wall, it's gonna look like this. I'm not gonna be surprised at this point. The whole thing just is crumbling behind it from all the nails and screws. But I try to use like thumbtacks so they don't go too deep.
Yeah, I use screws and nails.
Screws and nails.
Command strips are awesome.
Yeah,
and on my staging wall. Yeah, and I use the mud I'll use Dixie mud just to fill them over.
Yep. How do you hide electricity plugs?
Oh, that's a good question. That's something I've struggled with. That's why I got a staging wall, because I was so mad inside. I'm like, the plug's showing, and I didn't think it should. But I don't know that it's a problem. Most people have electricity plugs in their home, so if that's the only staging wall you have and that's your only hang up, don't let it be. I would just let it show.
Let it all hang out, baby.
Let it all hang.
I Photoshop them out. All right. So I think that's pretty much it.
Too. I don't do Photoshop anything. It is what it is. It's like, boom, I'm done.
Cheryl, let's take this last one and then get into our open Q&A. So start getting your questions in here, you guys. What do you want to know about? It doesn't have to be about staging. Here we are. You have us. We have 10 minutes left of the show. Go. Cheryl says, yes, people are real critical. I use bifold doors. You can also hang things from the door. That's a really good point. That's why I pulled this up. So somebody just asked about, how do you hang things on the wall? We said screws and all that. It's true, though. I will hang things from my partitions or screens. I will drape fabrics or what are those beaded garlands that are trendy in vogue right now. I'll, drape them off of that, etc. So that's good, or macrame, etc. So
right.
I like that. Oh, good, Cheryl. All right, open Q&A. Give us your questions. 10 minutes left to the show, guys. What do you want to know about? Again, it does not have to be about staging. As long as it's relevant to the paint industry, okay? Let's not get crazy. Okay, Sarah. When I couldn't Photoshop, I would take cardstock and cut the size of the outlet, use painter's tape and tape it on. Oh, snap.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Yes.
Yeah. Sarah, you're awesome.
I know. I just love me some Sarah. Huh. That's clever. And then also things on the floor like plants and baskets and stuff can help cover them up too. But you're right, Leah. I don't think that's a reason to get hung up. Yeah. Here we go. Sherry, best source for furniture hardware.
Menards. I go to Menards a lot. I know, and your hardware stores, Menards has really good. Amazon. Mm-hmm. D Lawless Hardware, Hobby Lobby, you know, and the one thing I don't really know, there's so many different places. The one thing I've learned though is unless you know you're going to use that, like it's like I have some like gold poles. I always use gold poles. Don't try to buy hardware before your piece is done. I have a big box of hardware I don't use just because it's like, oh, it's on sale, I'm going to buy a bunch of it. And it's like, I never use it. So that's one thing I've had an experience with hardware is not trying to buy beforehand. Do you buy beforehand? Oh, goodness. I love when we disagree on things.
Well, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I have a lot of hardware that I'm not using.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Etsy also, I just wanted to add to that. I get a lot of my hardware on Etsy. Yeah, because you can find some unique stuff and
right.
Yeah, write it down, write it down. Leah, do you have a tutorial for your raised stencil wallpaper look on your staging wall? Do you have raised stencil too? I don't have a tutorial for it, but I have tutorials for raised stencil. It's the same thing, really. The same process.
Yeah. That it's the same process. So I don't know if I have one on YouTube or not.
Yeah.
But if Bianca has one, it's the same thing. I mean, pretty much all you're doing is you're laying your stencil down, and then you're taking your spatula and you're just putting Dixie mud over it, and then you just take it off, take it to the hose, rinse your stencil off, and let it dry.
Right. For the wall, I use joint compound because it's harder and stronger. I'm telling you right now, though, because I had to sand that wall. Oh my gosh. It was a mess for weeks. I'm like, oh, never again will I be doing this. So here we go. Nope, I'm sorry. Ashley. I feel like this is a yep. Silk or chalk mineral if all colors were the same? Juicy.
Oh, this is a good question.
It's great. I'm going with chalk. How about you?
Oh, chalk. Yeah, chalk's just easier. And I love silk. And I actually have been, like, I'm a rule breaker. So I've been blending chalk, mineral, and silk together on the same piece. And the piece that you keep pulling up, that has chalk and silk, you know, on both of them. But no, I would definitely, chalk is that one has chalk mineral paint and silk paint just because I like the color. And I'm like, let's try it. And it worked. But if I had to choose one or the other, I would go with the chalk. The chalk mineral paint is the best because it's so versatile.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. It's just fun.
Unless it's black.
Chalk is just fun. Like I don't know. I'm in my zone. Me and my chalk paint. Chalk mineral paint. Excuse me.
If you know, you know.
Best brush. If you know, you know. Best brushes for stenciling.
Best dang wax.
Girl, what? Best brushes? The best dang wax brush. Oh. Yeah. It's the best dang. It's called the best dang brush now. It was the best dang
wax brush.
Yes, but they realized, wait a minute, this brush is amazing for everything, for all the things.
He said no one's using this for waxing. I don't use it for wax. Like I did the other day because I waxed a piece. I actually waxed a piece. I never waxed, but I did the other day. And I used it, but other than that, I'm blending like a third grader with a new crayon. Like
one of those big crayons. Yes,
that is what it's so good for. It creates the best blend.
I hate stenciling, so I'm glad you answered that question. I really hate it. Unless it's raised stenciling, but I am just not a patient person.
Stenciling with paint is hard. I stencil with gilding wax.
It is hard. And I'm so meticulous. It's bad. I will sit there and touch up wherever it bled through, and I just don't have the patience. I need to learn to let go a little bit, you guys. I realize I have a problem. That's step one, right? Admitting you have a problem.
You admitted it. Now we can help you.
Yeah. Please help me. Sherry, what are your favorite colors to work with? Purple.
I love orange. Orange lately. Everyone wants orange from me right now. So I've been digging on some orange. And I love the color.
You know what's funny though? As much as I love purple, I try not to do it too much. Because I don't want to take away from the like euphoria that I experience when I do purple. But I find that I lean toward blues a lot too when painting. Blues are easy. They're
Blues
just
are
easy.
sell.
Yep, easy sell, easy to create with, etc. But purple's my happy space.
Purple, and I love pink too.
Yeah, pink is good. Do you guys use the color mixer or just wing it?
I haven't actually used it yet for anything. I want to, but you know, like when I go and sit down at a piece, it's a lot of times I have no idea what I'm doing until I start. Like, like to be completely honest with you guys, a lot of times it's like I got a couple of these colors in my head, and then I start putting it on the piece, and then within like 15 minutes, everything's changed.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I've used it to play around with, and I have like screenshots. Oh, this color right here. Screenshot, save. But I haven't actually used it yet to create a color because honestly, I don't know why actually. I just usually wing it.
Different. And it's different too because you and I both have every single color that Dixie Belle carries. So it's easy for me to take like a dab and a dab. Like the way I do it is I dab my finger in and then I dab them together, and that's how I create my color mixing. But it's a great tool if you don't have all the colors or, you know, something like that.
Right. Can you coat over gilding wax stencil with satin clear coat? I wouldn't go over the gilding wax, which is oil based, with satin clear coat. Leah?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
So let's do maybe two more, and then we'll call it a day.
2 more.
Anybody else?
2 minutes and 2 questions.
2 minutes and 2 questions. Top coat for darker painted pieces?
That's when you want to use the silk, honestly. Okay, so the black is a really hard black, navy. The darker the color, the harder it is to top coat without streaks. So what I like to do is I like to use the silk whenever possible. Like this hutch behind me, it's all painted in the silk and not top coated except for the gold leaf. And then what another tip is to just mix a little bit of your paint in your gator hide. And then the other thing I really like to do with if I paint anything in chalk, I seal it first when I'm sealing by hand. I seal it first with satin clear coat because satin clear coat is slower moving, it's less durable, and it's a lot more user friendly. So I seal it with satin clear coat because the chalk paint is absorbent, and that satin clear coat creates a great first layer. And then I'll go over it with my gator hide. And the reason I do that is just because the more absorbent your surface is, the harder it is going to be to top coat. So that's why I always use satin clear coat first and then gator hide. Did that come out clearly? I hope so. I have a whole blog on it. I have a whole blog on why I do that. But that I feel like that is the best advice I can give for top coats for painted pieces. What about you, Bianca?
I spray.
Yeah.
I spray. So, Abby, really quick, I'm going to answer this in 10 seconds. How do you go about pricing your pieces? I take a look at what other people are pricing at as well as what I purchased, whatever the canvas is that I'm using for, as well as the cost of my materials. Obviously, you know, everybody's demographic is a little bit different, but I will price competitively for like work. And then Cheryl, I just wanted to answer this before we go, because Cheryl's been in a slump and we have an opportunity here to lift up Miss Cheryl Timberlake. I've been in a slump because of multiple surgeries. How do I get inspired again? I know it sounds lame, but I lost my mojo. Leah, go, because you are like, I don't know, the shaman or guru or the high priestess, whatever you are.
Oh gosh, Cheryl, just do it. I feel you. I feel where you're coming from right now because we all get that, and you've obviously had some traumatic experiences, but just doing it. Inspiration comes from doing. So whenever I don't feel like doing something, whenever I'm like not feeling like I want to paint today or I don't feel like I want to create, I go out there and I warm up like I'm exercising. And what I mean is I go out there and I'll clean something, I'll prime something, I'll base coat something. I just go out and start doing something, and then I let the inspiration come. So it's really hard to find inspiration for painting a piece when you're sitting in your living room thinking about, oh, I should go do this. And it's a lot easier when you just have that piece in front of you and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do something. And then you can always paint over it. So just getting into doing something. It also is really helpful too if you're like, you know, if you've had surgeries and you can't do furniture, sit at a table and paint a small jewelry box. My grandma, I remember growing up, my grandmother's dining room was dedicated. She had just all of her paint stuff out, and she would paint boxes and t-shirts for us and all sorts of different things. And there's just something really nice about just sitting and painting small things in your home and getting that same feeling, but not having to do a big piece either. So maybe you're kind of moving into a direction where you're going to do more smalls. And I'm going to tell you guys a secret. People want little jewelry boxes. They pay good money for them, and I don't like doing them. And like if that's something that you could do and you like to just sit, little jewelry boxes are hot on the market right now.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I agree. I just want to follow up with that just a little bit. I literally yesterday was like, oh, I don't feel like doing this. And I literally did what you said. I got up off the couch, put down Candy Crush, went to the garage, and I just started. And now I'm like, I can't wait to be done here, even though I'm having fun. I just want to go paint my piece. That's it. You're right. I like manifested in inspiration. Good, solid advice, Leah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, guys. Well, now it's time to go order your silk paint because you can get it now, and we've been talking about it for weeks. Anyway, thank you guys for being here with us. We will be back again. You can always email us at beyondthebrushlive@gmail.com. Right there. Take a screenshot and go ahead. Send us an email with your topics. Like this week, we discussed staging because you guys asked for it last week. Yep. So next week, what do you guys want to learn about? How can we serve you? So shoot us an email if you would like to, if you have a topic idea for us. Thanks for joining, Bianca. It's a pleasure. And we'll see you guys all next week.